Hey YouTube, this is Rasmus from Park Fan 62. It is Tuesday, uh, September the 19th. In today's video, I'm here to review A Haunting in Venice. Now, please note this, I am going to try and keep this as short and sweet as I can. It starts off with Hercule Poirot sit up in bed from a nightmare that he had. The next morning, uh, as he was having his breakfast, a friend of his comes and basically invites him to a Halloween party that night at a orphanage, I believe. And this is where a majority of the movie is. Um, so that night, they arrive at the orphanage along with the children, uh, and they go in and they're having a party. Uh, Now, you meet the other people in this movie. Um, Now, one of the funny scenes was at the beginning of the movie was the reporters were trying to talk to Perot about something, and his bodyguard stuck his arm out, and the reporter went tumbling over, and he was basically like, "I've told you what happens if you try and get near him." So you meet the mother and the maid. I will put all the names down below because I forgot the names offhand. Um, and um, I forgot the other people. Now, as the kids are having their Halloween party, um, the big chandelier fell, and that's kind of what caused the party to disperse early. Now, around 10 o'clock, you had a sidekick come in, which you could tell the sidekick was a little bit cuckoo to begin with. Um, but we'll get to that. So, all the suspects are in here. And then, right before the sidekick starts, the ex boyfriend of the girl who died came in with his fiance. Um, so everybody's kind of like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, "I got invited." Now, while the sidekick was trying to get in contact with the spirit of this girl who died, um, the typewriter, you can hear it go ding, ding. So, out of nowhere, Perot pulled down a person out of the chimney, and he showed that the typewriter was through like an electronic switch. So that was debunked. Now there were some other things that happened as well that they could not figure out. Um, and So then, this is where a majority of the movie is going to start taking place. First, you had the sidekick die. Um, she got tossed onto a statue, basically getting herself impaled. Now, so you heard screaming. And so this is where everybody started to be like, okay, what's going on here? So then as the movie goes along, it starts to show that they think there's ghosts in these house, which is what caused the girl to die. Because she was caught in the canal. Um, and they think she basically committed suicide. So, and then the father of the younger boy was always acting sort of weird throughout this movie. Basically, he was sort of not exactly talking to himself, but he was sort of always on the edge, and nobody knew why. And so, as this was going on, Perot was starting to interview these other people, like the nanny, like the father, like these two people the mother brought in to help, supposedly help her out. And it, it was one of those situations where um, a lot of the time you're trying to figure out what to do. And I do like the aspect of this as he was doing that, the sidekick before she died kind of put Perot in a how it was like a mask with a cloak on. So as Perot was trying to get an apple, um, he felt himself kind of getting pushed into the water as he was trying to get an apple. And, and then he was later scratched. Now, not long after that, you heard screaming. Now, the father was found to be dead, which was weird because nobody knew what was going on. Because the father was basically locked in this room so nobody could get in or out. So they were all trying to figure out how could this person die when he is locked in this room. Um so Perot, this lady, which was his friend, which will be something interesting toward the end of this movie. Um, and the mother went on to the top, which was basically their garden. And she had these white flowers with like little red spots in them that it looked like blood on it, but it actually wasn't. Um, while this was going on, Perot started to see this silhouette of a girl. And then, as he was trying to figure this out, he saw a younger girl, probably around early teens, maybe, if that, pop her head out the door as he was talking to her. The lady asked, "Who are you talking to?" She's like, he was like, "A young kid." You looked and nobody was there. So, as it was going along, you're still trying to figure out what's the connection to all of this. Um, which then hit Perot when he was interviewing the ex fiance of the girl who died. Apparently, um, he thought that because she did not have as much money as him, that, you know, this mom was taking it the wrong way, um, you know, and all this other stuff. But then he cut his finger, and then, or the ex boyfriend cut his finger, and you started noticing something different. And so this is where a lot of people's, um, this is sort of where it starts to change. Um, and so then a phone rings, and you look around, where's the phone? Coincidentally, the person that turned out to be his bodyguard knew where the phone was. Um, but when he answered, nobody was on it. So this intrigued Perot, and which then leads us to the finale. Basically, the mother was planned a lot of this with her child, the daughter. Uh, she did not know that every time she was giving her child the tea with honey, and the honey was poison, which is what was causing the daughter to hallucinate the children, uh, laughing at her, and so forth. And then with the dad that died earlier, uh, she knew he was trying to blackmail her. What the reason was never really quite discovered. But um, so she called him on the inside telephone, which is what caused him to basically push himself onto a sword to kill himself. She knew the side trick, um, something about her past, which is what caused, um, basically, is what she to kill her, and then threw her off onto the statue to get impaled, which is what. Um, now, the basically the bodyguard for Perot was an ex-officer who worked the case for that girl that ended up in the canal. Uh, the next day, he resigned. For the, Perot's friend, it was one of those situations where uh, she was a book writer, so she was trying to get Perot to come out of his shell, especially on this sort of thing, and not so much poison him, but to kind of get her name out there. So when they would try to, so finally the police was called. So as this happened, the mother snapped and locked them in this room. So as Perot went to the porch, the mother came around with looked like a gardening tool of some sorts, um, and was like, "I love my child," and all this other stuff. And basically, she fell back and died when she hit the canal. So the next morning, the police collected the bodies of all three. Um, Also, the younger kid in this uh, did have money from something. And a lot of it was from what Perot was saying, because one of the things the mother said early in the movie was she could not afford to keep the house up, which is what shocked Perot, especially with how big this house was. As she was basically trying to get money from the blackmail and all this other stuff. So, um, her and him and the nanny went off, I guess, back to the nanny's house, I assume. And the couple that was originally from Austria, I think, uh, they were talking about going to Missouri, St. Louis. So that's where they were heading. Overall, this was a great movie. It sort of followed the other murder mystery movies with Perot in it, like Murder on the Orient Express in 2017. And then I forgot what the other one was. But it sort of follows that method, but with its own kick to it, as this was way back in 1783, I believe it was, or 1983, or somewhere in there. So overall, this is a great movie. I highly recommend you go and watch this, especially with Halloween coming up. So this makes a good Halloween type